So the first question actually goes that do you recall when you heard metal music or heavier rock for the first time in your life?
I was in the town of Ísafjörður, which is north of West Fjords of Iceland. Some guys in my street, there was a noise coming from the garage, and they were playing Motor Breath by Metallica. I had never heard electric guitar before because, I don't know how old I was, just around 10, I guess. I just hearing some guy playing the intro on Motor Breath and then electric guitar kicking in. It's like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, I guess that was the first time that I heard something in the vein of, at least in a live, even though it wasn't a concert, it was a band rehearsal in a garage, but hearing distorted guitar. That was it.
So was that the sort of metal bug that hit you right away, or was it like after that you started actually liking the music itself?
I think it was probably, metal bug came very shortly on. I mean, shortly after the age of 10, I discovered Rain and Blood. And shortly after that, we started, forming bands in my dad's garage and still in the garage in my mind.
So was like Sólstafir your first ever band? No, it wasn't.
No. I had been sort of in the 90s, like 91, 2. I was playing bass in death metal bands. I had a few death metal bands. We played some gigs. There's a really cool festival. I mean, I'm not going to say it's like your Tuska festival or something, but there was a big festival here in Reykjavik where had 10, 15 thrash and death metal bands playing in an alley. Like a few years in a row, and we played there in the 92, and it was like we are playing with the big boys here, and it was like the peak of death metal. This is 1992, so death metal was huge here. Well, then of course, like 2 years later, we were totally into black metal, and we needed guitar players, and I had never played guitar in my life, so no one wanted to play guitar, so I said I'll do it. I started playing guitar, and here I am.
So what made you become a musician then? How did you end up picking up the bass?
Yeah, my dad had a old Framus bass, Swedish Framus bass. It's like 60s, so it was just always around. And then, of course, I moved to Reykjavik when I was 10, and I met other geeks in school that were listening to Bolt Thrower or Creator. So one of them had an old 50s or 60s scratch guitar from his dad. So we were trying to play, heavy metal on 60s instruments from our fathers, and it just escalated from that.
Were there like some specific bands or musicians that inspired you to become a musician yourself?
I guess just the classics. I mean, this goes, I can sort of pinpoint this. I mean, first music that I sort of become interested in is this Michael Jackson Thriller. It's the first cassette that I bought, first album I buy on cassette. And then, of course, I think Maximum Overdrive with AC/DC is coming out. Who Made Who? It's one of the first albums that I sort of listened to. And then, of course, Appetite for Destruction comes out, 87. First album with Metallica that I got was Kill 'Em All, but I must have gotten that around 87, 88. I remember when Justice for All came out, it was massive, and everybody was listening to Metallica back then. And then, of course, comes, like I said, Slayer. And then I'm listening to Slayer and, Extreme Aggression. And then someone at the school came with, I still had this cassette with a handwritten cover of Leprosy on a cassette, dubbed. And then in a school bingo, in my kids' school, there was like a bingo at school. And if you won the bingo, you would get the first prize and you'd get a CD. You can go to a store and buy a CD. So I won the bingo. I went to the store and I bought Scream Bloody Gore with Death. That was, I guess, the first death metal CD I got. And there was no turning back after getting that CD.
So how did you pick up the microphone then? As you already mentioned that you started with bass and then switched to guitar. But how did you also pick up the microphone in the end?
Well, because our bass player was too shy. When we formed the band, Halldór was our bass player. He was going to sing. We were listening to bands like, a couple of Finnish bands. We were totally into Beherit, early Beherit and Impaled Nazarene. He was going to sing, and I was going to play guitar. Well, he was going to sing and play bass. but he was too shy and he never sang. And then he stopped showing to rehearsals, and I was like, well, someone needs to sing here. So I had never sang in my life, and I didn't really. My first time really screaming, because I didn't start trying to sing until many years later. First time screaming was basically in May 1995. That's the time when we were in the studio recording our demo tape, first demo. We wrote 4 songs, and then of course in the studio we needed vocals, and the singers that we were sort of influenced by were like Víkarnes or the singer from In the Woods, Dark Throne, and stuff like that. A lot of Norwegians. So I just did my fair share of trying to imitate them and screamed my ass off. Today I'm like, this is pretty fucking extreme. I would probably lose my voice after half a verse these days. I don't know, maybe it was all the Lucky Strikes that I was chain smoking back then. So,
but first, did you play like cover songs with your band before you decided to write your own music, or did you immediately jump like writing into your own music? Yeah,
I've never been in well, I'm lying. The only time I've been in a cover band was when I was 36. Friends of mine decided to play Kill 'Em All live. So that's the only time I've been in a cover band. Always about writing own songs, yeah.
In terms of like developing your own voice, I guess you first started to mimic your idols and then trying to figure out your own way to how to do things, or how did it actually go for you?
I think it's just like, from totally screaming. Well, also like Darren from Sadus. I was always been like Kelly Schaefer, Atheist, Martin van Drunen. It's always been like this up singing. I've never, because my voice is I have a very narrow vocal range. So I've always been such a fan of this up, high-pitched screaming. So it will like I said, Darren from Sadus, Kelly Schaefer, Atheist, Martin van Drunen, Chris Ryford, Autopsy. So it escalated from sort of this sort of black metal, very much, Burzum, Darkthrone black metal singing, into more, I'm going to say Tom Araya, because I could be in a Slayer cover band. I think I can pull a Tom Araya quite well without being too cocky, but it's just something in the vocal range.
Did it take like long time to figure out the right technique for it? Were you losing your voice like all the time in the early
all
days?
The time.
Or?
Yeah, all the time, because it's different when you are a touring band and not. Now I'm in a band that tours and I need to be able to sing for 2 hours. Back then, first of all, we didn't play a single concert for the first 3 years of the band.
Okay.
So nothing to worry about. You just show up to studio maybe once a year or every 2 years and you sing, fine. If your voice is gone, come the next day or a week later. Now that's not an option. Now I need to be able to sing 2 hours a night, maybe for 6 weeks in a row. And I can do that today because there's a lot of time gap from 1996 till 2024. Of
course, you have also changed a little bit about the style of the band, and your singing style as well.
Of course. But I can today. It's interesting because I did a side project called Bastarður, which is like a cross-punk band that I formed. So, and then all of a sudden I become a singer in a cross-punk band. So I'm basically sounding like Tompa the whole gig. So I'm screaming my ass off, but I had to, sort of fine-tune the technique. How are you going to do that? How are you going to only scream for an hour on stage? So that was the interesting thing. So now I sort of mastered that. And of course, physically, voice will change with years.
Yep.
The history has very much shown us that if your name is, Eric Adams or Ian Gillan or Rob Halford or whatever your name is, in the big boys league, it's gonna change. So far, I can sing all of our songs, but you change the songs a little bit when you've played the song 500 times through the years. It's gonna change a little bit, and you're gonna do this note instead of this note.
Yeah.
So you know where your comfort lies. because song is like a living entity. It's living and breathing, and so you don't have to do exactly that. Having said that, if I would go to see Slayer, I mean, I want Tom Araya to do the high-pitched vocal in Angel of Death. I want that because I understand that a guy that's 62 years old or whatever is not going to do the same stuff he did when he was 24.
Yeah. Very understandable.
Yeah, I mean, even when you go to see Judas Priest, I mean, you're not going to say, Rob Halford fucking sucks. He doesn't sing like 1990. I mean, come on. You're not going to say that. I think in the last 10 years, because going from 36 to 46 is I'm more aware of. It's not going to get easier from now on. I remember when I was a kid and you would read interviews that would be like headlines. Rob Halford is fucking 45 years old. He's like a fucking dinosaur. I mean, right? He's 45. Can you imagine this? No,
yeah, now he's 70 something and still nailing it on quite good level.
Yeah. So it's time really, comes back at you.
So in terms of like, you already mentioned like touring. So what kind of like early memories do you have when it comes to the first proper tours that you did? Were you ready as a vocalist to do show after show, or was it like a learning experience also for you?
It was with the band called Code, which was basically an English band, which is with Matt from Wexel, Great Pleasures. He was there singing. And there was another band called Secrets of the Moon, which was a German black metal band. So you had Matt and Phil and me, 3 singers in the 3 bands. We toured like for a month. This was our first long tour, like a month in a bus, gig every day. I was always, losing my voice. But then again, I see it now because, first of all, I would chain smoke cigarettes, like, 1-2 packs a day of just Marlboro, Lucky Strike. Hardly drink any water because, you drink beer and you pee constantly and you're dehydrating. You do amphetamine, which makes you hardly sleep at all. Then you would eat shit food and you would just go on stage, no warm-ups, and just scream. And I was always wondering, why is my voice so bad?
Surprise, it is.
Yeah, because I feel like an idiot now because I feel like, what? 2 plus 2 is actually 4.
Yep.
How can you not see that? And then a few years later, I mean, I can go on tour and I'm playing 6 weeks in a row and we're doing 2-hour shows. I mean, I can have a good day or a bad day because I think I have higher standards now. I really want to hit all the fucking notes all the time. If I struggled in some verse in song number 8, I will, I'm not pleased with it, but
it's still like it's life and it's your voice and it's never like 100%. Yeah. And touring is quite rough on its own. And
I know. So my point is, I won't have a shit day. Because I fucked up, my body can just be tired. But today I'm asleep and I drink water, I warm up and I stay away from this, stay away from that, and all this stuff.
In terms of like warming up, when did you start to develop like a routine for that? And what type of routine do you have today?
That was when we were touring with the Norwegian band called Audrey Horn from Bergen. Great band. My friend Tushi, the singer, because I was still drinking back then. I don't drink today, so. And he would be warming up all the time. And I'll be like, It makes me feel like an amateur. That's how my mind thinks. Because I'm not warming up and I'll be the guy complaining about, my voice. When maybe you shouldn't be drinking 6 beers and 4 Jack Daniels and do a line of white powder before the show and smoke through the gig and complain when you should just be maybe drink some hot water and warm up. And he was warming up. Well, he would drink the beers as well, but it was the first time I saw someone do that. And then, of course, when I would do a little bit, but from that point on today, I mean, I'll do beginning of tour, I'll do like 15 minutes a day before show. And it's very easy. You just go on YouTube, you do vocal warm-up, and you can have 5 minutes warm-up, 10, 15, 25, 30. I do like 15. If I'm feeling cocky, I had a good gig yesterday, I'll do 5 or 10. That's fine. And I know, I mean, now I'm just been drinking 12 coffees already and I didn't sleep much. So I can tell. I wouldn't want to go do a show right now. But I can tell in the warm-up. Warm-up is usually an hour before the show. I can tell, oh, fucking hell, it's going to be a tough gig. But then I can try to, because it's just a muscle. I mean, imagine this. I mean, if you were a boxer and you're going to go fight boxer, are you going to warm up? Or it's just going to be cool lying on the ground smoking cigarettes? How's that going to go?
Most likely the first option.
So, yeah, I mean, if you are going to go to a gig, which is my way of, you know, I feel like it's the purpose of my life, you know, apart from having kids and stuff like that. But going on stage and being comfortable playing the stuff you write with your friends in cowboy boots in front of people, you can't beat that. So don't do that with your pants down. Why would you do that with your pants down? Maybe if you crave that attention, but you're just a wanker. So I want to be comfortable just singing. It's a great feeling.
Are there like some specific foods or drinks that you try to avoid before the show that you have felt that they harm your singing somehow, or something on the opposite side that you want to take that you have felt that they help you with the singing and screaming?
Well, first of all, I always avoided beer because it makes you burp all the whole time. So being the burping singer is not the cool thing. Same with sodas. I don't drink sodas. I drink still water. I sound like I'm fucking Celine Dion or something here. But room temperature water is what I would drink. Someone told me that milk products are not good for voice, so I stay away from it while touring, because if someone says so, I guess they have something in it. So I can live without milk products on tour. So I stay away from that. I try to not, because I'm a full-blown ADHD case and I talk a lot. I'm loud, I move fast, I'm hyperactive, and I try not to talk 10 billion words very loudly during the day. And I appreciate sleeping. I think it's only like milk products. I guess so. I mean, I eat. I'm terrible with food, but I'll eat just whatever. And I think it's just, I guess so. It's just milk products that I stay away from.
During your career, you've obviously released a lot of albums with Sólstafir. Are there like some specific albums that you could pinpoint where you have felt that you've taken a big step forward as a vocalist?
Yeah, probably when we did the Masterpiece of Bitterness in 2004, I think, yes, first album on Spine Farm. It was the first time I sort of, shall I say, sing or what? Because it would be like more like cleanish vocals. It's more like, shall I say, 80s Hetfield or Shades of God, Nick Holmes, because it's not clean, but that sort of vocals. I would have a lot of delay and reverbs. Probably Masterpiece of Bitterness. The same happened when we did the Cult song, because we were recording in Sweden, and first time in a while I was singing Icelandic. There was we recorded the title track in English, and then I said, oh, I want to try this in Icelandic, and then I sang something very soft in Icelandic, and then I felt, oh, fucking hell, this better sound good, otherwise you're making a fucking ass out of yourself. So, and I didn't know how to sing properly, because I'm just a guy that's trying to sound like fucking Nocturne Occulto / Tom Araya. I've never heard Nocturne Occulto sing like fucking Neil Young singing Heart of Gold. So here I am, trying to be Nocturne Occulto singing Heart of Gold. I don't know how to do that. So I tried. I thought it sucked at that time. The guys were like, oh, it's really good, let's use it. I'm like, no, we're not using it. Yes, we are. So, And I let it slide because, you know, it's why you're in a band, you trust your friends if you're not comfortable with something. So that was a moment. And I guess the same was with Fjarra. It was just step 2, because we took the rule, you can't go this soft because you're a metal band. So we just took it even further. We like taking things to even further. When it even becomes stupid, we're like, okay, now it's good. So, you know, we did the same with Fjarra.
So the upcoming album, Hin Helga Kvöl, I don't know if I pronounce it correctly.
It sounded perfectly.
But The Holy Suffering is in English, and it will be out on 8th of November. So are there some new things, vocal-wise, that you did this time around?
Yeah, sounds stupid talking about it, but I always wanted to try, because I mentioned this, what I've tried to do vocal-wise, you know, the Nocturnal Culto, Neil Young thing, Tom Araya, Nick Holmes, sort of this thing. I always wanted to do, how close can I get to Andrew Eldridge, Sisters of Mercy, or David Bowie? Can I actually do that? Because, you know, can I physically do it? Or can I do it because does it fit in the music? I've sort of sometimes played a little bit with this voice live in certain parts, but people are not going to realize. And I mean, like, oh, well, we're just going to do it. And even I had Svavar, our bass player, do a little bit of backing vocals, said, just, if you would, because he's like an actor, he can, you know, interpret people to so I said, just imagine if you were Andrew Eldridge from Sisters of Mercy, how would he sing this part? And he was like, oh, like this. So he would, and I'd be like, perfect. First time we sort of tried that, can we mix that in some parts? I mean, obviously not the whole song is like that, but just some parts. And also, you know, there's more screaming on this album. So, which I hadn't done in a while. I think this has more aggressive vocals. I guess this is the most aggressive, you know, some songs, most aggressive vocals that I've done since 2007.
Okay.
Since just, you know, some stuff of Cult, I guess. Because there's not a lot of screaming, proper screaming on Svartir Sandar or Ótta. There's no screaming on Ótta. Let's just say there's more Nocturnal Culto and David Bowie on this album.
What were your parents' reactions when they heard you screaming your lungs out to black metal for the first time?
It feels like they still haven't heard it, so.
Okay, let's keep it that way. Last question. Any kind of advice that you would like to give to a young metal vocalist who is just about to start their journey?
Long time ago, let's just say 20 years ago, I wanted to go study singing because I felt, because it's always been my dream to be able to do, let's just say, Rob Halford or Eric Adams, you know, go there and sound like Nocturnal Culto and Darren from Saddles, all the same. I want to do it all, be able to do it. I've never been able to do it. So I went to the singing school, and basically the guy said, are you feeling ill? Because he asked me to sing for him. I'm like, awkward. So no, just sing something. And I sang something very stupid. And he said, are you feeling sick? I'm like, no. You should see a doctor. I think there's something wrong with your vocal cords. So me, of course, I got very butthurt and said, I'll never go to a singing school again because he hurt my feelings. So I think I should have gone to a different one because I would have loved for someone to teach me techniques, let's just say early 20s. Now I'm in my 40s and I'm now like, maybe it's kind of cool learning this stuff because I would have loved if someone just taught me stuff, you know, breathing properly. You can do falsetto techniques, vibrato techniques, you know. No one taught Kurt Cobain or Jimi Hendrix how to sing, and they sounded like $1 billion. Then you have to have it, but learning the technique doesn't hurt. So I would have advised myself in my early 20s that, hey, you know, it's not going to hurt you. You can still sound like yourself. but it doesn't hurt to study this a little bit.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this with me.
Thank you, Arto. It's been a pleasure.